I don't even know where my spray is. It's just a stupid. It's covered in hair.
This whole house is covered in hair.
It's fucking
Get
horrible.
rid of that dog. Hello, everybody. My name's Daniel.
I'm Paul.
And this is
The Dad Collective Podcast.
your favorite podcast about dads on the internet.
I would say it's the number one dad podcast on the internet. I'm just saying it right now. I'm manifesting that stuff.
Manifest, bring it in,
Yeah, we are the number one podcast
in the world.
Yeah. Who's Joe Rogan?
Not the Dad Collective.
He's cleaning my windows today.
Why would he have lost his job?
No, that's actually his name. My window cleaner's name is Joe Rogan.
There's actually did you see there's some sort of product out there that did this whole marketing campaign where they're like, Michael Jordan eats this, but it's like, and then it's like Michael Jordan from like, you know, Michigan or something. And he's just like a firefighter. Like it's just picking real people's names.
I had a client named Michael Jordan.
Genius.
Like legitimately, that was his
Genius
name.
ad. Not the fact that you had a client that
and
name.
He lived on Heman Avenue.
I wouldn't give
Mimico.
up. So now everyone could look him up.
No, we sold that place.
Paul,
6
how you
days
feeling?
over asking.
Okay, this isn't an advertisement for the agency group. This is the Dad Collective podcast, and you are now how many? This is episode 7.
7.
And so how many weeks are you out?
7, 8, 9.
Those
are numbers. What do I do with my hands?
Well, you know what? Before you answer that, I'll just say in full disclosure, we're filming these in bunches. So when we say weeks out, we've been trying to do the math of like actually where we are. But the reality is potentially when this episode comes out, your baby might already be here. I don't know the timeline.
No, I think we're going in order, but this is episode 7. I think we are 6 weeks out. 6
weeks out from today. But when episode 7 comes out, how far along will you be? You won't have the baby by then.
No, we're on track.
Okay.
I did this mathematical equation.
So we're going to end this before you have a baby?
The last episode will probably be. We got a couple bonus things for you guys though.
Oh.
We're not just, doing this thing. We got some bonus things.
This bonus. Oh, it's like a DVD with like bonus features.
Yeah, we should do commentary on our commentary.
But what was the first DVD that you like watched and got like the bonus feature? Me too.
Yeah, dude, we bought that together.
Oh yeah, we went out and bought like DVD players and like rear projection TVs.
We were baller DJs who spent all our money at Future Shop.
All our money. Do you remember the deal that I made when we went to Future Shop and I bought that TV for my basement?
I do. Yeah.
What was the deal?
With the speakers?
No. Sorry, not what I paid, but the salesman. I said to him, "I'll buy this, but you have to do one thing for me." Do you remember what that one thing was?
No.
I made him call me on my birthday to wish me happy birthday.
Did he actually do it?
He did it. It was like 2 months. It was like 2 weeks later.
That's impressive.
That's what we call good sales.
That's the power of persuasion. And in sales, that's going to tee us up for today's episode.
That's right. Because as we mentioned,
yes,
every single episode is a new topic that we try to stay on.
We try our hardest.
And I was going to ask you about your work day, and I'm just going to tell you about my work day, going to the office.
You saw half of it as you pulled up as I was having a heated conversation in my car.
Yeah, it gets heated.
On my driveway. It does.
And it gets even more heated once you have kids around because you have another thing occupying your brain that needs to kind of, you need to pay some lip service to.
You need some mental real estate for that.
There
it is.
So
I can sell you that too.
Tell me what you're
selling the dream.
I'm leaving. This is a different type of podcast that I want to be a part of. So for those of you that don't know, both Paul and myself are in similar kind of career scenarios. Obviously, we're not in the same industries, but we're both kind of run our own companies, have our own businesses. We're entrepreneurs. And I messaged Paul earlier and I said this episode should be called Dadpreneur.
And to me, it sounds like manure.
Yeah, but when you write it as the title of the YouTube clip or on the podcast, it will look nice.
It does.
And that's all that matters.
And I literally sit there for like 14 hours trying to figure out what to call the episodes. I think I just did episode 3. I don't know, but it was a good one. It's a good title.
What was the title again?
It was
Who's Your
Sugar
Daddy?
Wolves and
but that's not a title. That was
no. And then who's your TV daddy and what does he do?
Perfect. And I don't think that even connects to that episode.
It doesn't, but it's one of the best sayings of all time.
It is great.
Kindergarten Cop. It's not a tumor.
So many things in that movie would be canceled in
Every
today's
movie.
stage.
So many. Tropic Thunder. I just watched the other day.
That's the obvious one, though.
But it's so good.
It's amazing because it's
Are you going to show?
It's
those
a
movies
parody
to
in
your
itself.
kids?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, 100%.
Of course. I mean, at the right age, I'm not going to show them it now. They wouldn't even get it. But
That's even makes it even better.
yeah, and I'm just laughing, and they're like,
why does he want gummy bears so bad?
They won't understand anything. So yeah, being an entrepreneur and kind of going out into the world and fending for yourself essentially is nerve-wracking in itself, as we know. But I'm sure you can imagine, and I can elaborate, that it all becomes a lot more potentially overwhelming when you have your kid and you're doing it not just for yourself and not just for your wife, but you're doing it for your family.
Yeah.
And not only, is there stress around that, obviously from a financial perspective, but also being an entrepreneur, which is maybe a word we'll say too much in this episode.
Sure.
Is time consuming.
It is. But I'm always on the fence calling myself an entrepreneur because it is kind of different with you, right? Just like I feel like whenever I see like real estate agents calling themselves entrepreneur, I'm just like, oh, great. Here they're going to go on a rant and like waking up at 4:30 in the morning, buy my course, all that. Bullshit. I do sell real estate. I have my own real estate team and I also own a brokerage. So I get that part.
Yeah.
I find like what you do is more so. Like I've never wanted to have a boss. I think the only real job I ever really had was Licks for 3 days and then working at Hollister for
great guck sauce.
It was. I love Licks.
There's like none left.
No, there's one on the way to Perry Sound. I had a cottage listing, and every single time that I went there, I got Licks, and it was like four or five times that I got Licks.
It was great.
I brought Jess too because she never had Licks. Or maybe
is it a
did.
Canada thing only? I guess it is.
100%. But it's phenomenal.
Yeah, but you know what? I get that kind of humbleness, but the reality is that if you're not working,
I'm my own boss.
Forget about own boss because you can be in a company and be your own boss.
Damn it!
But the reality is
the only thing I'd go in.
No. If you're not working and going out there and hustling to get work, you're not making money. Yes. There's no salary for you. No. And so in that sense, that makes you an entrepreneur because you have to actually go out and get business, whether it's sales for this or you're inventing a cereal like us. It's like you have to get sales and you have to get business. So I would classify you as an entrepreneur.
I wish people would call me an inventor.
You're not an inventor.
I want to be.
You're not even an innovator.
I'm pretty innovative.
You're not even in the in crowd.
That hurts.
All the INs you're not a part of.
I'm out.
You're out.
I'm not in, I'm out.
You're out. But you're an entrepreneur.
Sure, I'll take it.
You're an entrepreneur.
I'm an entrepreneur. So you've always been that way. You've never had a normal job either.
Not from like a professional career standpoint.
No. Like, so you've started a bunch of companies and now you're on a company. You're on a company. Now you got a company where you've actually created a product.
Yep.
How did that feel?
Well, I'll tell you right now.
Yes.
But first I'll back up because like you said, there's lots of different companies I started pre-child and maybe I'll take you on my journey because I think not only is the workload heavier when you have a kid because you're an entrepreneur, you're out there getting business.
Grinding.
But you're grinding, but still having to, this home life doesn't take a break. It doesn't rest. It's not like, oh, you've been out doing this. Everything here doesn't stand still. It continues to move on, which is what makes it overwhelming.
For sure.
But so my first company that I started, which was Grow
Interactive.
From an official company standpoint, we did great character building and bully prevention programs in schools all across Ontario. 100,000 students I saw every year, which is a lot of kids.
It's a lot of kids.
A lot of kids. And so that started at a time in my life where I wasn't married.
That wasn't instant birth control for you?
No, but I'll tell you this, I wouldn't be able to do it now that I have my own kids because like you look at other people's kids as less than yours.
Wow.
You can't care as much when you have your own kids for other kids. It's tricky. So that was starting a company when I had the flexibility of living at home and I didn't have like all these like, adult life bills and that stuff. And that was challenging itself because you're starting a company. While running Grow, I got married.
You did.
And I had my first kid. So Joey was born while Grow was my main business, my main source of income. Which is insane. Just
about being an entrepreneur and being at your wedding. Did you notice that I left for like 60 minutes?
Nope.
From your wedding?
Nope.
I had to.
Was it too much for you to handle?
No, it was the fact I was in the middle of an offer and we didn't have DocuSign then. So I forget who met me It might have.
At camp, or you left?
I left your wedding for 60 minutes.
Like drove away?
Yeah.
Or like you stepped out?
I stepped out. Someone brought me
to my property?
Yeah, and I had to cross everything out, and then they went back and sent it in for, I think it was my assistant at the time.
That's good.
Yeah. But that's what it like takes being an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so
that was just I knew I wouldn't bring that up. And I tell people that often when they talk about real estate. I was just like, I left my best friend's wedding to go get a deal done.
So is that like the tech and like the DocuSign and all stuff? Does that make things a billion times easier?
Oh yeah, way easier. Because I like scanning
before
it
and faxing it or whatever.
When I started in the business, it was fax.
That's crazy.
It's so
the
crazy.
fact that anyone still has a fax number now is a thought that blows my mind.
I was acting back in the day, and they literally used to send me the sides by fax.
Really?
Like I bought a fax machine when I became an actor.
Fax. We even at Grow, we did faxes. So we had a fax number. It's weird.
Faxamil.
What a weird kind of form of communication.
It's so dumb. I don't even understand how it works, to be honest.
I think it's just a phone call of documents.
But it's pictures.
Yeah, it's like a scan through a phone line, like a phone number.
It's dumb.
It is
anti-fax.
dumb. I'm anti-fax too. I will not stand for faxes. We should get
Dad Collective anti-fax, FAX.
If you want to see that merch on our website when we finally launch one, let us know. We'll make some Dad anti-fax club.
Because we're not anti-vax.
We're not anti-vax. We're anti-fax, and we'll have to clarify that as we
I'm
wear
also
the shirt.
anti-fax because I like to make up my own stuff.
Anti-fax CTS.
Yes.
Okay. See, this is us going off the rail.
And we're
we're coming back. So Joey was born while I was running Grow, and that was very overwhelming because I went from like Grow had a schedule where I was on like elementary school time, and so sometimes we'd be doing schools and programs like up in the boonies of whatever, and I'd have to get there for like 7 to be ready for 8, and so a.m.
Oof.
And so I'd have like Joey in our bed or in her bassinet or whatever it is. And I'd still be doing all the new dad things, right? The first time is even more overwhelming. Like now I can kind of cruise control it a bit, but still get up, go work this job for whatever, like, grind, like you said, and then come home at 4:00 when the school day is over and just jump back in. There was no opportunity to like decompress.
Oh yeah.
And so that was like me having a company that I started and then having a kid, and then Event Circle came along.
Yeah.
And I already had 120. Yeah. So Event Circle kind of overlapped with Grow. So it started a little bit just before Joey was born, or right when Joey was born.
Mm-hmm.
And that was scary. But really the truth is that now with Goldies is I'm 40.
Yes.
I have 3 kids. I have bills to pay. I have a full-time job, which is Event Circle, and that's like my 9 to 5.
And you still DJ.
And I still DJ on weekends. And I started this company called Goldies. And like a big part of the conversation I had to have when you want to go after your dream is like you have to consider the other people in your life that it affects. So like I had to talk with Jamie and say like, I want to do this. It's going to take some more time. And what does that look like? And starting and being an entrepreneur and starting a business when you already have kids, I feel can be very daunting to jump into that.
But this is completely different because like the stuff you were doing before, like Grow and Event Circle, it's kind of in like the same realm of the stuff you've been doing.
Yeah.
This is a CPG.
You got it.
Boom. Consumer packaged goods. So you actually created something from nothing.
Yeah.
And that's more scary just because like you're doing stuff that you know.
Oh, but true. So yeah, when you're starting a business, it's
always chances.
It's always good
Follow
to
your dreams.
Try to do something that you know or you're passionate about. But the reason why from a time consumption it's less scary is because all my businesses before, all the things I've started, big or small, and that includes like bands and things that we've did together, because those are companies and businesses.
Yep.
Even this podcast, in my mind, it's a business. Not that we're making money, but it's something that we're building and working on. Is all service based. It requires me to be there always, right? DJing, events, all that is like service.
You got to be there physically.
You got to be there. And so now it's actually nice to start a business that is more focused on selling products. And so the creative element, which is something that I oversee with it, can be done whenever, right? I can do that if I want to do something at midnight, I can do it at midnight. It's not like I'm there having to, go door to door at this point and sell. Yeah. So that actually made it less daunting.
And that's a role you give yourself because that's what you your
what
strength.
I'm better
That's what
at.
you're
Yeah.
good at. Yeah.
Schreiber's the number guy. He likes Excel sheets.
Okay.
And
I don't even know
like
how to use Excel.
Yeah, he does like crazy formulas in there. I'm like, why don't you use a calculator, bro? But it organizes things and it's amazing.
That's great.
But I'm not about to learn that.
You guys are launching some more products, so things are like ramping up.
Things are ramping up, but the whole point that I'm making is that for any dad out there, for anyone who is listening, it will become, and you'll know this when your child comes. And if you decide to, let's say, move a different direction within your company, maybe I don't know how many ways you can move around. It seems like you've moved around and done a lot of great things in real estate already.
Yeah.
But making any bigger life decisions are now going to be thought out with a different lens. Not only like, is this best for my family, but what kind of time will this take up? And you'll start to balance that.
That's what it all comes down to now. I think like for me, what I've realized is how important time is. And I was just saying this before we got started, because this took 2 hours to get going, because I was out and came back and just dealing
shower and put on your squeeze into your jeans.
Yeah, so these are painted on. And wearing my emo shirt.
Yeah, you went to a concert last night.
A couple nights ago. Yeah, some friends.
Wasn't that last night? See, time blends together for me.
It does, but yeah, time is the most important thing. Like when you're saying like you don't have time to decompress, like there's literally times where I'm just sitting in my car staring,
screaming.
Yeah, just screaming. No, just staring into nothing, because my brain is like
on overload.
It's just on overload because there's so much going on, and it's been a serious fear in the back of my head that like is now growing louder, that like I have a kid coming in 5-6 weeks.
Yep.
It's weird because everyone's like, oh, December's a slow month for real estate. It's always been busy for me. So like I'm worried about that. And now on the other side of things,
because it's like you can call your boss and ask for time off. There is no time off.
Exactly. And it's my clients still expect me. And like on the other side of things, like I've always been very high volume. That's just how I've been my career. And I'm like,
what do you mean high volume?
High volume and like home sold and all that. Like I've always been.
So you're dealing with lots of things at once. Lots of
not just lots of like it's a lot of transactions a year. Like in humble brag in the top 1% in Toronto, blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's everybody's sign says top 1% in Toronto.
Yeah, but like it actually.
But you're telling the truth.
Yeah, exactly. But now I'm like the slowest I've ever been. When like normally I'm dealing with 10 clients.
And that's a symptom of the market right now.
Of the market. And like 13 years in now. And I was just like I still have clients on the go because I always do. But from dealing from like, 10 to 12 different clients at one time to, 4 to 5.
So are you thinking that your fear is based in like the financial element of it
100%.
versus like the time to do everything?
No.
Because it's two separate things, right? It's like money, you have to bring it in, you have to hustle, it's your company, you got to do everything. Or it's like, I'm busy and I'm nervous, I won't be able to give my family the time that they need. Or it's a bit of both.
It's a bit of both, because right now I'm just like, well, Jess is going to go on mat leave. She does have a decent mat leave package, so that's great. Yeah. But like, I don't want her to stress about stuff. So like for
it's
me,
Canada, they'll just give you free money. The government just gives out money.
Free money. But yeah, so like because like I'm on the slower side now I'm like ramping up activity to bring that business back in. So it's like, it's such a weird, like if you were to sit in my head,
I do not want to do that.
It would shock you. Like I'm not like today I had, like I said, 1 Uncrustable and 4 goldfish today.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, that's the thing is you have to
7:30 at night.
You need to obviously, because again, it's not going to get, I'm telling you now, it's going to get worse.
Thanks.
So
excited.
Well, no, it's just like your time is going to be like, it's like, imagine this is your time in a day and you're doing all these different things. Take that and cut it in half about the focus time that you'll be able to give. Whether it's like physical, you might be places, but like your focus will be cut in half and you'll have to work that much harder.
And when you're ADHD, like I am,
your focus is already shit.
I'm thinking about baseball right now.
I'm surprised you're not being distracted by the flames over here. Just like, ooh, fire.
Well, one of my eyes is actually looking at it.
You got an eye that
I don't
wanders
like fire that much.
You've literally told like 7 stories on this podcast about how you burn shit to the ground.
Listen, me.
I start fires.
You've lit
I told one fire story.
The cops came.
They didn't come. They were called.
There was like a company-wide email that went around.
You're mistaken.
They were looking at security footage. You were caught red-handed.
No. They just, I think actually, no, someone saw us running like 3 kids.
Yeah, you literally,
like tripping. But hold on a second. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What's the protocol? Does this help or work against you in the real estate world? So let's just say you have your baby Things are good. You're working, blah, blah, blah. And like, 4 months in, 5 months in, when you're a little more comfortable, just like bringing the baby out. And sometimes people are more hesitant to bring their baby out when they're first born.
Yeah.
Especially since you guys will be having him. What's his name today?
Ooh.
I named him last week.
Royal.
Royal?
Yeah.
So you never be royal.
That was just literally the first thing I saw.
You just can't. Oh, his name is Lamp.
LED. Spotlight. Ring light.
Royal. So little Royal is 5 months
Call him
old.
Roy.
That's good. Okay, we'll call him Roy.
We'll call him Roy.
5 months old. Can you, if you had a good relationship with your client or whatever, would you be comfortable? Like, do people ever bring their babies?
I brought my dog.
Okay, but that I feel might be more accepted. So, do you know
Actually,
any agents that bring?
How many babies do you know that like shit on the floor and drool?
You bring your dogs into your own listings or you go into open house? You can't bring a dog into an open house.
Don't tell me what to do.
You cannot do that.
I can.
They had the little signs that say take your shoes off.
Yeah, dogs don't wear shoes.
Fair
Boom,
point.
roasted. Dude,
But-
I can rebuttal anything.
But hold on, can you answer? Does anyone bring their babies in? Is that frowned upon?
No,
Or is that
people
like,
have-
or does
people
that
have done
help?
it. People have done help in. I don't see how that would help.
I don't know, because it humanizes you a little bit, right? So if you're trying to make a deal and the person on the other side is the person that you're trying to make a deal
You
with.
watch way too many real estate shows.
I don't watch any real estate
yeah,
shows.
no, it doesn't. Like, yeah, you can bring a baby if you want to.
Okay, well, hold on. I know if you want to. Would you bring yours? And on a second note, forget it. Just would you bring your baby?
Yes.
Would you be open to it?
Yes.
If Jess is like, I need you?
Yes.
And do you think that'll help you?
No.
Have you ever gotten a letter as a real estate agent where like that pushed that buyer over the edge, saying like, hey,
actually multiple times.
that's what I'm saying. So like that humanization helps with sales.
They don't care. Nobody cares about me. They care about the buyer.
That's true, but maybe you just pass your baby to the buyer
be like-
and you go in like acting like we just had this baby.
Yeah.
We need this house.
Roy's gonna close deals.
Roy will close deals. You
Yes.
gotta put him on like your card.
On like my billboards.
Yeah, just be like Roy's dad.
Roy's dad, maybe.
Listen, I'm not a marketing. They don't call me a marketing genius for no reason.
I'm not opposed to anything.
Okay, so that might help going back to our original point. From
You're
a
no
time
fix.
perspective, that could help because at least you have the flexibility. Like someone else who worked a regular job couldn't just bring their kid in a crunch.
I don't know how comfortable Jess would be with that.
She'd be fine.
No, because I'm something
talk to
you
her.
guys will maybe eventually learn as we let you into our lives. I am never on time for anything.
We said that like on episode 1, so they already know this.
Yeah, so I'm late all the time. And I'm always in a constant state of chaos.
I fucking hate lateness.
Yeah,
I told
know
you that in a previous podcast.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
It's my biggest pet peeve.
You know what I hate? When
Grilled cheese?
when people are early. When I say 6 o'clock and someone shows up at 5 walking down my driveway, like,
No, you said 5:15. I showed up at like 5:06 because
I said
I always if you're on time, you're already 10 minutes late. That's my whole theory. And
grind. Wake up at 5 a.m., start grinding, take a cold shower, and
you gotta move.
buy my course.
I have that. I have like reverse ADD. It's like I have to. Maybe it's OCD.
Why is that, Daniel?
I have to get to places that I say I'm going to be at on time or earlier. It gives me an overwhelming heaviness, anxiety to be late to things. Period.
Who hurt you?
Nobody. It's just called common courtesy.
Or you're afraid.
Let's do it. You know what? Let's turn this moment right here into a reel and turn it into a poll. Do you prefer to be early to things, or do you prefer to be late? Or are you an early person, or are you a late person?
Let me interject a word into that late.
We'll use the interject word,
Fashionably
right?
late.
It's only fashionably late to go up to a party. Okay, so if I'm invited to like a party that calls for 7 o'clock,
What time are you rolling in?
depends on the type of party, right? So if it's now in my day
80s
life,
themed party.
forget the theme of the party. In my life now, my parties are mostly with like
Kids.
families and kids and stuff, and so on time, if not early. If
15 minutes late.
no,
Yeah.
you're disinvited.
Perfect.
You're cut.
That's what I'm going for.
You just want to be excluded. And
I
more
just
things?
want to sit on my couch and watch horror movies all day.
So
reality
who
TV.
broke you? Really is the real question.
So many people, man.
Tell me about it.
I don't want to.
I think 1 week we should just like rent a secondary like couch or there, and I'll be your therapist, and you can like lie down, and I can just break you down.
We'll get canceled in like 36 seconds
Oh, for the things that you say?
for just what goes on in my head. So being an entrepreneurs. what was there one time where you actually felt your, I'll say business was going downhill because of it? Like, did you have to rein it in, or did you need to find that balance again is probably what I'm getting at.
You need to, no. So I've never felt like because I couldn't.
But I also think you need to preface this saying that you're a control freak.
I'm a little bit of a control freak.
Right?
And
so
I
like,
also
you've
don't
never had
like,
an assistant?
No.
Okay.
I have employees that assist me, but I don't have like an assistant.
Okay.
Because I usually, like I said, need to
Would do
make
it
the
yourself.
decisions. But what I was saying is that I've never felt like I lost potential business because I was doing something with my kids or my family required my attention. But I do sometimes think about how much further I might be if those things, which I would never not make them, if those things weren't a priority. So we all know the trope of like the working dad who's like never home and like drinking scotch and like, you know, like
totally
that,
me.
totally
so
like
manly.
So many manly fathers out there
Yeah.
who are, you know, that might have been like, that's kind of like our parents' generation. Like fathers probably weren't around as much. Like the dad went out
I don't think
and
either
worked.
our dads are manly
No, but
scotch drinkers.
Forget put that little character trait aside. What I'm about to describe is your dad and was my dad, but my mom too, because she also worked hard. But the fathers of our generation often were out and working late hours, and our moms did most of the raising of us, right? That's true in your case. Like your dad worked a lot and traveled a lot, and that was very common for our dads back then. Now I feel, because of the dads that I surround myself with, is that dads are working and moms are working and
babies are working
and babies are doing whatever they do for
They're
work,
babying it up,
wearing little baby
they're
mustaches,
like typing on their baby
little baby
machines.
typewriters, little baby briefcase, a little baby cigar.
No, it's don't smoke. We don't condone
smoke,
babies smoking.
children. This episode is brought to you by cigars. Don't bad cigar by Laramies.
So like, okay, so on the flip side then, because I can see this actually happening a lot in my life. Have you had to leave family stuff?
Yes, to work. Yeah, and again, it's a balance. So what I was saying before is that
how do you set that
these
balance?
days,
yeah,
you make everything a priority, and you have to make certain things a priority. So if it's like a family thing and it's a priority, it will have to take priority unless a certain circumstance that you cannot control as an entrepreneur needs your attention. And the good news is a lot of, these days with technology, a lot of my issues as an entrepreneur, as a person who runs his own companies, is I can solve or do things quickly on my phone to put things in motion. It's not like, again, I got to go to the office, honey. We're all, staying late.
But man, that's also a gift and a curse.
Yeah, because you're more reachable.
Right. So like a big problem that I've been having recently.
It's like Batman, a gift and a curse.
Yeah, exactly.
For his powers.
Batman doesn't have powers. He's a freaking bank account and a utility belt.
And a genius. And a fantastic
Alfred,
detective.
And an assistant.
And a
Alfred.
detective. There you go. Maybe I'll hire Alfred.
But for me, like I will drive to the gym. And
you mentioned that before in the podcast.
And
Are you trying to like sponsor? Like,
no. But I will
give us a muscle.
I will sit in my car.
Give me a muscle.
No, I will sit in my car.
Yeah.
Flexing.
There you go. There's Jim boy.
You are strong.
You can do this.
No, I'll sit in my car and like I've like literally edited the reels in my car, or I've had to like today. 3 days this week, 1.5 hour conversations while sitting in my car, trying to walk into the gym. And then it gets me into the gym being like, well, I'm here. I need to go in.
Yeah.
So then I'm at the gym till noon from like 11 for an hour.
So it delays you, or
it like screws up my day so bad, and I don't get things done that I need to get done because everything is so accessible to me. Well, and then Jess is like, well,
but you can do things again. On the flip side is now you can accomplish things in transition. So things like travel time, excuse me, reduces because. So from the pandemic, we saw, and I want to mention something about the phones in a second. So remind me if I forget, because I forget often.
Yeah, freaking goldfish.
But in the pandemic, the world, and people are going back to work now, of course, but the world realized that productivity, and there's good reasons to get out of your house. Like, don't get me wrong, but the world realized that when you save an hour driving this way, 45 minutes of driving that way, 20 minutes this way, like travel time and like get ready dress time from like the waist down, because on Zoom, I guess if you had to have those calls, you could be waist up ready.
Yeah.
Increase productivity, increase people's like, I was able to like get my work done at my home, and by like 2:30, 3 o'clock, I can go lie down for an hour and recharge because I have accomplished what I would have accomplished from like 9 to 5. So
yeah, my
gift
industry is
and
a
a
bit
curse,
different.
right?
I think like my industry actually took a major decline. I have never
because you're a
seen-
meeting, like you're an in-person industry.
Yeah, but also from being like a new agent, and like I want to say some, not all, a lot of the agents that started during COVID
Yeah.
are not on the same caliber as this season people who were there before. Cause like
who would start during COVID?
so
I feel
many
like that's
people.
such a weird.
It was just timing when you like get your license before, because it takes a little bit of time.
Because they weren't expecting it. It's not like they went into.
Well,
That's
no
true.
one expected it.
No, I know, but for some reason I thought like I'm
Except
going to be
it
an
was-
agent. You're an agent, but I forgot
Yeah.
about the whole like you
You
have to
actually-
like go to school and do that
Yeah,
stuff.
you and the general public just think that we just
I
get
don't
a
think that.
license and get a white BMW and we're good to go.
Did you ever have a white BMW?
I had a couple black ones.
Okay, so you broke the mold.
I did always, but that's the thing. So I find like now realtors or whatever are not as like disciplined as like going to the office. I've learned so much when I started from just being around
out
other
there.
agents and
Of course,
and
that
everything.
goes without saying, but that's very particular to your field and probably other fields. But that's like,
but yes,
you got to be out there for your job.
I honestly don't think like imagine starting and like Jess did. She started at like a couple of law firms
Yeah.
during COVID, and like as much as she can get stuff done here, it's like you don't meet, like you're not having that office culture.
Yeah. Listen, I'm all for the office. I think
I'm a
it's
strong
great to have
believer.
interaction. I think a hybrid method is the best. It's like, listen, I'm going to come to work. I want to socialize. I want to be a part of everything. But if I can't come in a day, there's a snowstorm, like going to the office shouldn't be a mandatory thing. It should be like, I need to go and you want to go.
Yeah.
But if you want to be home for a day, because like even this week, I worked from my office Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay.
And I just worked from home today and yesterday because it's like I got my heavy lifting and my my interactions with my staff out earlier the week, and then everyone went off to do their own things.
So I see two issues with the work from home thing with the family.
Kids, because that's what we have to connect this to.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like, did you notice because you were around so much, they get separation anxiety? I've read like so many things about pets that were, dogs that started with COVID. When that person actually leaves the house now, they're not accustomed to being alone. Now your kids aren't socializing as much as like, let's say we socialized at that age.
Yeah.
So did you notice that like you
like
being
from pandemic
home,
specifically?
No, just
working from home.
just being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because now you're always around. You're not that dad who's taking his briefcase and
I'll tell you
thing of
this.
coffee.
So okay. I know exactly what you're asking. So this is the great thing about what you're about to enter and what I'm about to enter.
Wait, can we just do a quick pause?
Yeah.
I want you to take a video of your kids when you get home
Yeah.
and ask them what you do for a living. And I want you to put it in right here.
Okay. Okay, Joey, what do you think Daddy does for his job?
Make cereal.
Make cereal? What else though?
DJ.
Yeah, what else? What do I do every day when I go into work?
Do a dance.
Yeah, I do a dance. Sonny, what do you think Daddy does for a job?
He makes goodies and he goes to work.
And what do I do at work?
He makes goodies.
I don't do that during the day.
He works on his computer.
I work on my computer, and what do I type into my computer?
He type like making like goldie things.
No, it's nothing to do with Goldies. Do I do events?
Yeah.
And do I make cool like experiences?
No, you dance.
I dance, okay. Thank you. Atlas, what does Daddy do for a job? What does Daddy do for work?
DJ.
I DJ, what else?
Yeah.
What do I do every day when I go to the office?
No.
You don't know?
Yeah.
Okay, blow a kiss, goodbye. So this is the benefit. Tying this back into entrepreneurship, running your own company. You know the things that you have to be at from a work perspective and do all that. But your tasks for the day or your job, and maybe it's a little different for you, but for me, it's like I have to get all these different things done for things to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm not so necessarily on someone else's time, like a client's time.
Yeah.
But for in my world, and I'm sure this bleeds into yours a bit, is that if I want to pick up my kids every day from school
I could do
at
that.
4 o'clock,
Yeah.
I can totally do that and not fall behind in work because I plan for that to happen.
Yeah. So that 4
So the
o'clock becomes at
flexibility
8
of the hours.
p.m.
Yeah, for whatever it is. What, when I pick them up, are you saying?
No, because don't leave your kids.
For
No,
4
I'm saying
hours.
like that stuff that you were supposed to do at 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. You could do
I
from
can
8
do it
to
whenever,
9.
or I can just start work or a little bit earlier
But
or whatever
like,
it is. So it's great because you can be at these things and the flexibility just from like my kids have a lot of doctor appointments.
Yeah.
So it's like if my kid has a doctor appointment for the most part at like 12:30 on a Wednesday afternoon,
You can do it.
and Jamie has a job and she has to report to someone, I have the flexibility to make that work most of the time.
Yeah. So like I don't even know, like when we're calling home sick when we were
Yeah.
kids, like
I get calls every day.
no,
I told you that.
but like you have a normal job. Our parents like work like
Yeah, I don't know how they did it.
I don't know how that happened at all. Because like I was on the phone all the
Yeah.
time. They're like,
And we're
pick me up. I hate car sick.
And we're it wasn't me that you hated. We were close.
That
Who
you
did we
knew.
hate?
Well, let's not get into a
No, I
tangent.
want to talk
We were
about
on-
everybody that we hated.
let's
Ready,
make that
go.
list. Well, we put makeup on.
Here we go.
Sketch.
Yeah. Well, what song?
Really bad to sing.
Wait, but what song was playing?
I don't remember.
Somebody comment. What was that song? Was it I'm All Out of Love?
Maybe.
It wasn't that.
Well, it's one of the best scenes in movies.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So like that's the thing. Like
How did our parents do it?
how did our parents deal with that? I feel like being an entrepreneur, well, our stuff is so different though, because like you said, I'm on other people's times. As much
Yeah.
as I'm my own boss, my clients are technically my bosses.
And it's, I guess so if a client's like, I can only go see houses to, from
That
5
happens.
to 8 because I work.
I have to keep that available.
That's your job.
So
right?
I had clients like that recently. They were a big, not I want to say big ticket, like, a $3-4 million buyer.
They're a valuable client, as all your clients
as
are.
all they are. But yeah, so it was across town,
Yeah.
East End. I live in the West End,
East Coast.
East, like Leslieville, beaches.
That's hardcore.
I'm in High Park,
Yeah.
which is like legitimately across the city.
Yeah.
Only times they could see places were between literally 6 p.m. and 9.
Yeah, because they had jobs.
But for me to get there for 6 p.m., because that's rush hour, I had to start planning from like 3:40 to 4 o'clock. There was one time it took me 2 hours to get across the city.
What do you mean say planning? Like leaving at 3 o'clock?
Yeah, so I had to block off that time of day.
But couldn't you, I guess because you're busy, because you could, you had to block it off. You couldn't go to that side of the city and beat traffic as having the flexibility to go where you want and hang out there for the
But
day
I'm
and do
also
work.
managing other
people,
clients,
yeah,
right?
so
So like
that's why.
it's kind of different because like I need to be at the beck and call for my clients because I have like a massive fear of letting like, hey, sorry, I can't fit that
Missing
into my
something.
schedule.
Yeah, or letting them down.
And that house sells.
Sorry about that. We had a little glitch in the system.
Yeah.
Hopefully that didn't take us too out of the moment, but you were saying.
Yeah. So like I have a fear that like I don't want to not be there for my kid. But that also being said, I have a career that I've built up to, almost 14
the
years.
opposite fear really is what it is. It's on the other side of your
It's
life.
Yeah. And it's just like, I can't let that go. And obviously there's so many realtors who have families and all that stuff. It's going to be a lot to relearn how to balance that stuff. Right.
But so that's the whole point, is that you are now going to have to, and I asked you this a few podcast episodes ago, you're now going to have to start prioritizing the different things in your life, to make everything balance and rebalance. You're adding imagine like a balancing thing. You're adding like a big handful of rock on this side.
Yeah.
You got to think of a way on this side to balance it out. And so you're going to have to make decisions on some of the, maybe really the recreational kind of stuff and not that you are big, like
Not
doing
at
a bunch
all.
of things, but some of that stuff has to go first. And again, I think if you compartmentalize a lot of those elements, your family life, your work life, your this, your that,
Yeah.
then you can try to do your best to make sure that they don't overlap and interfere. So a good example, and this is what I was going to say before when you're talking about cell phones, is you good? You're there?
Yeah.
You just seem out of it.
No. I was just making sure the camera's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I'm always making sure that tech's working.
Yeah. Cell phones.
If you're having a dinner, this is the easiest example, or you're doing something with your kids. I don't know. Maybe you're going to see them at a play or something, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Your kid. Sorry, I didn't need to pluralize
No,
that.
just one kid.
Just one child,
One
according
child.
to you.
Yeah.
According to him.
After all of, you're making me want to have one kid.
No, I'm gonna make it. No,
This is-
hopefully my stories are not like turning dads off of
One
having
kid.
more kids. But so you got to start saying that. Listen, I'm gonna do this moment with my family. My phone's gonna go down, and it's really, really tough when you have
Yeah.
your own business because you feel like you're probably missing a lot of shit. But that's what you have to do, and you have to kind of prioritize these moments. And then if you do that, if you show your family that they're a priority at times, then those times where you have to go to work and do something, they get it and they appreciate the fact that you're doing this work
for them.
And you and your whole family.
And that's where like, I had this discussion the other day with Jess because like I'm stressed and she knows that I'm stressed and she's like, why are you so stressed? And I'm like, listen, like if I was living just with like Brooklyn and I'd be totally fine. I wouldn't have a care. I have a slow period. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. That's fine.
Yeah, it's a different world.
Now it's just like freaking Roy's got to eat.
Roy's got to eat.
Roy's got to eat.
Property taxes have to get paid.
Like it's just,
lights got to stay on.
It's not just me. And like I will treat myself like utter garbage if it's just me.
Yeah.
Now that I've got Jess, who's like my world and this baby coming into it and like the animals and the house and it's a lot of pressure. And it's been tough. And we touched on it, a couple episodes ago when we were talking about mental health. It has been very strenuous on my mental health. I've never been this stressed out in my life. And it's, we're in the worst real estate market that we've had in 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's a lot. And I'm worried that I'm so focused on this, that it's taking the attention away from the baby coming. And there's been days where I was just like, fuck. I wish I had a normal job. I wish I had.
I get that feeling too, though.
All the time. I'm just like, I wish I worked at Google.
Yeah.
And like,
wherever.
I got to check every 2 weeks.
And you go from your 9 to 5 and you give it your all. And when you get home, and again, this is obviously not like people out there who have regular jobs will be like, I still have stresses when I get home. But like, I think of, and again, nothing, I love teachers. I'm all for teachers, but my sister's a teacher. So I get to see teachers and like, she can go to her job and she works and she has the same lunch break every day.
Exactly.
And her day ends.
Exactly.
And she comes home and maybe she has stuff to do for school or prep or whatever. But the reality is it's not her business. It's not her baby. It's not, the pressure is not on her back for the school education system to succeed.
Yeah.
It's going to go on.
It's going to happen.
You don't need to worry about like bad cycles or markets or things like that. And sometimes it is, I do fantasize about that too, all the time, actually.
And it's been an ongoing thing. Listen, I love real estate. I love what I do. I'm very fortunate to be in the position I am right now. Yes, I have worked my ass off, but I've had like a set goal. Like when I joined the agency, my whole goal was to have a piece of the pie.
But being fortunate doesn't imply that you are lucky. So like, you don't need to like
I'm not saying,
justify like in the sense that I'm fortunate, but I worked hard. You worked hard and therefore you're fortunate.
And like I was saying, like it was my goal to own part of an office.
Yeah.
And that happened. I guess we got the contracts. Well, I was in New York in January. We actually, I got the email with the contracts then. So like I've built this bed, you know what I mean? So I'm going to lie in it. I'm going to see this through.
But that bed's about to get much smaller because there's more people in it.
Exactly. But that also fuels me. Like,
yeah, you use the fear as motivation.
So like, I don't know if like I did work a normie job that I would be complacent in life and that would be horrible.
The grass is always greener, my friend. And that's
the grass is green where you water it is what I say.
Is that a real saying or do you say that?
No, it's because you want to get some grass to buy a house with me.
I love a front lawn.
I love a front lawn.
My house has no grass.
Yeah, I didn't
anywhere.
sell it to you, so.
Is that why? I didn't want grass. I put turf in my whole backyard.
Oh, we have turf too.
Turf's because it just makes your life easier.
It does. But that's the thing. Like being an entrepreneur is a choice. I don't think either of us would work well in a normal job.
It's in you. And I often say, and this sounds super businessy, is that like lots of people think they want to be entrepreneurs. And again, there's nothing more like
fulfilling. Not
fulfilling, but there's nothing more being an entrepreneur or working a job, not one is better than the other. They're different for different people.
Yeah.
And so sometimes people on the other side, like I said, the grass is always greener.
Yeah.
People who have regular jobs go, I want to be an entrepreneur, but they may not have the capabilities to do it. And so we call them entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
Because you want to be it. It seems
it's like
glamorous.
That meme, right? Like, oh, make your own hours. And it's literally, there's been days where I've worked like 20 plus hours.
Yeah, exactly. It's
right?
Your hours.
Or you literally don't get a check every 2 weeks.
They're worse. And vacation's not consistent. Like,
No.
yeah, you have more flexibility, but
Dude,
like,
I didn't take a vacation for 6 years in the business.
and when you're taking a vacation, when you even, I'm sure now
Oh,
you're
man.
still working.
Dude,
you're
so
still dealing with shit.
we used to, did I do it when we went to go see Fall Out Boy in Chicago? I used to go and buy a printer and send it to the hotel because the business centers are always shit.
Yeah.
And we didn't have DocuSign. So like I literally would be going,
It's like get
anywhere.
like a cheap like HP or something.
yeah, just so I can print and scan and not have to worry about it or use my phone with a bad scanning app or whatever.
So crazy.
But that's what I used to do. Like it was, I can't even imagine. I can't think of a vacation or when I went away somewhere that I didn't do a deal.
So let me ask you something.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, or you confess that right now you're dealing with the stress of the market, a
Everything.
baby coming, the whole, the world. And I can tell you a million people who are dealing with
Way
crazy
worse.
stresses, right? Like it's just, this is the world, unfortunately, these days, is that stress seems to be very prevalent.
Yeah.
So what I was asking you is that, okay, so are there any, this is a 2-part question, so don't start answering yet.
Yes, sir.
Part 1,
Part 1.
I'm gonna tell you when you're allowed to respond. Part 1, I'm very controlling. You're right.
Yeah.
Part 1, what do you do? And we joked in the past about like handling mental health and things like that. We say ice baths and things like that. But what do you do now to deal with that? Like, how do you, are you not dealing with it? And the second question is are you projecting or putting you're trying to put yourself in yourself's shoes in the future when little Roy is here and wondering, okay, if this stress is like this now, what is it going to be like then? And how am I going to handle that?
So first part, I'm trying to just stay calm while also hustle harder than I have. So I'm a pretty avoidant person to begin with.
Yeah.
So like I try to push everything back and
Yeah, I do that
bottle
too.
it up.
We're similar
But
in that way.
I drive. I like going on drives. I think sitting in my car before I get inside, that kind of
So you've been
helps
doing
bring
that
it down.
more since the stress has been increasing.
Yeah,
You find
it's
yourself
been-
sitting longer or driving more.
I got on ADHD medication. I've, signed up to start talking to a therapist, and it's just, like edibles help at nighttime. They do.
Yeah,
They take
for
my mind
sure.
off it, watching movies. I'm trying to work on my fuse now so I don't need to deal with it later.
Yeah.
So that also kind of answers number 2, but I'm trying to be more focused on blowing up in the fuse and the temper.
Yeah.
Because like,
But I think you get emotional, but I don't think you're not a very angry person.
it's over the last couple of years.
It's gotten worse.
It has. Yeah. And like, it's something that I'm
Like I'm an
cognizant of.
angry person,
It's very different.
different type of anger.
Yeah. So like and it's been a really freaking stressful time. Going to the gym every day like really helps with my brain. So that's why I do it.
So that will have to be consistent when
It
the
needs to be.
baby's
And
here.
and Jess knows that. We've talked about it. She knows I get weird when I don't get to go to gym. Man, if I have like an 8 a.m. flight, or I try to get to the gym at like 4 or 5 before my flight, just because it helps my
That's good.
brain.
Listen,
weird.
it's scientifically proven. It increases your endorphins.
Yeah.
It gets, makes certain
yeah.
things work better. So
For sure.
there's nothing surprising there. Would you, speaking of entrepreneurship, like, is there any other, so this is the world you're in from a business perspective, but have you ever thought about doing something or start like as a side thing, like starting something? It's usually entertainment based, right?
No, but it's this. And to be honest, that's why like I could have gone and started a real estate podcast.
Yeah.
But like I felt like why? Like this is like
But that also becomes who you are when it's a part of every part of your life, right?
Yeah.
And you're
like,
not just, you don't want to be known as just a real estate
And
agent
that's
in
the thing,
general.
like,
you're going to be a dad. You're going to be
But
like
that's-
entertaining, like all these things. So
but
like
that's why I've
you
gotten
avoided
to where
that?
I am. No, but that's why I've gotten to where I am. And like, it's everything. I don't know any other life. When we were in bands,
Except that road life.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. When we were in bands together, I was the guy like talking to management. I was the guy
Yeah,
who was
I don't talk
booking
to people.
shows I've always treated everything I've done as a business.
Yeah.
And I've said like, if I didn't do
Are you going
music,
to treat your family and your kid like a business?
100%.
What's his
guy
position
with-
going to be?
The guy with his daughter who's an actor.
She doesn't work for me though. She works for herself.
Yeah.
She's her own entrepreneur.
Sure. I like that
what's this?
management fee you're taking out. Oh, 75% is normal. That's normal.
They protect. Oh, I mentioned this. They protect kids so well.
It's
they
like
couldn't even do
it's
it
like
if you wanted
that
to.
freaking video I was going around with the kid. He's like, "Do you want 2 Oreos or $10,000 cash?"
Oh, I know.
The kid's taking Oreos every time.
Have you ever seen the other kid videos where they like put like, I don't know, a bunch of snacks in front of them or one snack?
Oh, I love that.
And
They
they're
leave the
like,
room.
they're like, don't eat this till I get
Yeah,
back.
I love those.
Best videos.
Yeah, like I don't know anything different, right? So for me, I'm gonna have to learn how to adapt because
Different
I'm
from
not,
what? What do you mean?
Different from being an entrepreneur, working 24/7, and
Yeah, not
always
turning
being
it
on,
off.
right? So I'm gonna have to learn how to just mesh it all together. And
I think it forces you to, which is nice. Like when you don't have a choice of what you have to do at a given time, the most obvious example is you're not going to be doing anything the day Jess is giving birth, essentially. Like it's not like you can't do anything else. That's the priority. It will 100% be it no matter what. Correct?
freaking live streaming that shit, doing all brand deals.
But jokes aside,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the
No, for
reality.
sure.
And so there's going to be lots of moments in your life once your kid is here where it will still feel like that. And it will be no question of what you want to be a part of and what you are willing to take and what you're willing to lose. I was willing to give up. Like I made a commitment from a DJ perspective,
Yeah.
certain amount of dates per year, knowing I'm losing money just to make sure that those evenings were a priority for my family. And you will start to do the same, whether you think you will or not, you will.
Have you been like checked into place? Like, have your kids ever been like, Dad, like, where are you? Like, why don't you love me?
No, but they don't say that. Or at least not for those reasons.
No, but I'm saying like,
No.
have they made you like? Have you felt guilty?
Yes, I feel guilty. I hate.
You said about
I hate
putting
at
Joey to
nighttime.
bed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hate being out at night.
That's also because you're
Even
scared of the dark.
Those sugar wolves. I'm
Yeah.
telling you. I hate being out and missing bedtime because I love that so much, and I don't like my kids going to sleep without us connecting. Like whatever reason, that sounds insane.
I just clipped that in my head saying I don't like my kids.
Don't you? What you're gonna?
I'm just
I
kidding.
don't like my
Fine.
kid.
Yeah.
No.
You don't like your kids.
So they don't make me feel bad. But like if I was leaving and we were having a good day, let's say like tomorrow I'm gonna be going to work around like whatever 3-4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be leaving, and they're gonna be hopefully not hopefully they're gonna be in reality like upset or like that, don't leave or things like that. They do say that, and I'm like, I wish I didn't have to. But on the flip side, it is nice to have your time and to balance your own mental health by having moments with them and without them. Because if you want to be with them all the time, eventually that weighs down on you. And that's whether you're a dad or a mom, really.
So if you could tell a new dad who happens to be sitting next to you in this room,
Yes.
what would be like the main advice you would give to being an entrepreneur and also putting your family first?
I would say this. I would say don't let the dad life discourage you from reaching your goals and dreams. And if you want to start something brand new, and this is you or anyone, but if you want to start something new and you believe in it and you have a passion for it, you can make time for it. You can make it work. You don't need to sacrifice your dreams for your family. But having said that, you need to make sure that those dreams and the things that you're working on as an entrepreneur have their own boundaries, and whatever that is, if you're busy more in the evening, that's okay. I'll finish this up.
Yep.
If you're busy more in the evening, then you try to make your days more of a priority for them. And if you're busy more on the flip side, whatever it is. So you need to still prioritize your family. They should still always be the main priority, while still understanding that you need space at times, but more importantly, you need to work, you need to live, you need to survive in this world. So that's what it is. That's my advice for new dads is like, go after your dreams. Don't hold back, but make sure you that you're present. How about that? You're present when you're with your family. If you're there and your mind is somewhere else because you're working, you're better off not even being there. You need to be present. You need to be in the moment. Otherwise, kids can really feel that. They can feel it. They know when you're scrolling your phone or working or not paying attention. And if you're giving them your time physically, you got to be there mentally.
For sure. Yeah. So I totally get that. And I think it's just being really conscious.
Get what? You think my advice is good, or
no, I think that's
you just
good.
get my perspective?
I think that's a good perspective
Yeah. Okay. Good.
to have, right?
I just needed that validation.
Like, I feel like the times that we are living in, that it is way more common for people to be entrepreneurs. Like, the normal job force isn't as
It's
prevalent.
grown because of the internet, right?
Yeah.
Like you can reach, businesses now has no borders.
For sure. And like, I guess like when I presented this idea to you,
Yeah.
it's taking on another thing, and it's something you have to talk to Jamie about. And,
Yeah, it was.
Right? It was.
And in all full transparency,
Yeah.
you can admit, like, at the beginning before we started, like, my response time to this was pretty horrible because
Yeah.
I was so overwhelmed and I wasn't in it yet and I wasn't committed because we weren't doing it yet. So like
Yeah.
a lot of the preamble planning stuff to get
Sure.
this going fell back on my priority list because I like still have to work on my work at work,
Yeah.
and I still had my kids and all these things were happening. And it wasn't until like Jamie got used to the idea of me doing, filming this with
Yep.
you once a week,
Yep.
and it became part of our routine that we adjusted.
Yeah.
And the way we do that is like, I will, like, even earlier this week, I worked last week. I think we spoke about this.
Yeah.
Thursday all day and night, Friday all day and night, Saturday all day and night,
Yeah.
and Sunday all day. And so on
Sunday,
Tuesday, I was supposed to go out and do something with my sister and get something, buy a gift for my mom and go have a dinner and whatever. And I said, you know what, Jamie, I was out for the last 4 days. You go with my sister. You go have a night off and I'll take care of the kids.
I love how you sent her off to do your thing.
Well,
Do it.
Sorry.
I
But
need more
you're-
time.
It's because you're not a
No, I
dad.
get
You're
it.
not a dad yet.
I get what you're saying.
That freedom that I gave her, that I allowed her to have, I took
Yeah.
her off the leash.
Yeah.
No, that gesture means a lot. And so that will be the same thing for you. If you find yourself working harder or more during a particular part in little Roy's life, you're going to find yourself, if you're aware, telling Jess whenever there's an opportunity for her to go do something, and you'll hang back because you now have the time in this moment. So it's
Sure.
finding that balance.
Yeah. And it's also thinking of her mental health and like letting her have some,
Letting
alone
her.
time.
We sound
No,
so
no,
like
that's what I mean.
that.
Like,
I know it's not what you mean, but that's what we both been kind of saying.
intending for her to have like alone time. Do you remember the first time you were alone with Joey?
Wow, that's actually a good question. I don't remember
Like
the first time I was alone. That would have been. I can imagine that would have been overwhelming for me, but
like the
I don't
first
remember.
like girls' night Jamie went on, and it was just like you and Joey.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember. It's weird. Like, I'd love to tell you a story. I don't remember the first time I was alone with any of my kids.
I've had those thoughts. Like,
yeah,
I've never babysat a kid. I've never held a baby.
it's so different when it's your own kid.
So like, there's a lot. Like, I would just like the whole SIDS thing. Like, there's like so many.
It doesn't matter whether you're alone or together.
No, I
It's just
know.
it is very scary. Like, I won't sugarcoat it.
I know
It's like,
people who have experienced it.
yeah, and it's obviously horribly unfortunate, but
Yeah.
like, again, whether God forbid something like, I don't even want to talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
Is just the thought of it is scary, right? So it's like the likeliness is everything's going to be fine. Like that's the reality.
But it's like,
but doesn't stop you from having like uncontrolled fears that are very validated.
I think like the first time that I'll be alone with Roy, like I just know I'm going to get a phone call from like a client, and it's just like,
yeah,
I don't.
But you could still answer the phone.
No,
like,
I know. It's but like, we need to see this house right now. Or
yeah, but I honestly,
explode.
so maybe this isn't the same with real estate. But let me throw something out there because I think it would translate in many ways, but maybe not real estate. As soon as you start setting up boundaries in your own business, in your own company,
100%.
you actually make more, you do more, you're more successful.
Yeah.
It's when you're completely open and available and willing to do anything to get the gig, get the job, get the work.
Yeah.
You actually do less, business and work and make money. We changed ourselves this year from event circle side of things. We stopped saying yes to everything and really started picking and choosing,
which is
great.
great.
It really helped. And the same thing goes with boundaries. It's like, if someone emails me, like a client that shouldn't be emailing me at like 8 o'clock, they're not getting a response tonight. Like
8 o'clock is so early.
No, I'm saying, but like 8 o'clock at night, like there's nothing in my world that needs a response that quick unless something's happening at an event right now. If I get a call and there's an event happening, obviously that's different. But if a client, if a client's asking me about a future something, at 8 o'clock, forget it. Like, you'll get a response tomorrow. I don't give a fuck.
That's where the industries are different. Like, I need to be there. I don't necessarily need to be,
But it might just be a
doing
question. It's
bullshit
not
work.
always like you going somewhere. It's like, hey, Paul, what are your thoughts on this? You don't necessarily need to answer that right away, right?
No, for sure. And if it's like, 11 o'clock at night, maybe I'll wait till the morning.
Yeah.
But like, I'm pretty quick on my phone. But that's also a habit that I need to stop. Like,
You need to. We're bad with that. Me and Jamie are very bad
Same.
with that. And I try not to be. It's a symptom of the world we're in, or if we're attached to our phones.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a gift and it's a curse. Like, it's awesome having this technology.
Yeah.
And it's great. I remember one of the first deals I did with Jesse, like one of our mutual friends.
Yeah.
And he was buying a loft. I was living in like St. Lawrence Market again, east end of the city, going to the west. And I was driving back and forth at like 11:30 at night. Like, I've done deals at 1:32 in the morning. It happens. It does. Like, if you're in the middle of negotiations and things are hot, like,
the market's hot. I can't stop.
but that's the thing. Like, sometimes you are doing that. And sometimes like, I'm going to need to be on my phone.
Yeah.
Do I need to be on it as much? No, I don't.
And choose the priority times, right? So like, again, we all go down the scroll and
Doom scrolling.
The
I've
doom
learned
scrolling,
that.
right?
I just learned that term a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and we all do that. And so it's very easy to completely like zone out and get into that world. And if your kid's sitting next to you watching like, Blue's Clues or whatever, put the phone down. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm aware. I put the phone down and like enjoy the moment where you can just cuddle and hug and watch and do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Because if you're aware of it, you'll do it more, and you need to make that a priority, because we can't be stuck to our phones when our kids are around
1,000%.
unless you have to. And then those are the moments that you do what you got to do.
Yeah. Like, I've talked to so many like top agents in the city, and they all have kids. They're all like older than us, and like, they made it work. And obviously there's sacrifices to be made. There's like, and that's just the life we chose.
Yeah.
And it has its perks. Like, when I started in real estate, I didn't take an appointment before 10 a.m. I was always with a client. Always with a client.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, sorry, I'm with a client. Let's do 11:30.
You love to sleep in.
I used to like, because I would work until
late,
like
so
2:30 in the morning. Like,
you needed it.
There were nights, I want to say every Tuesday night since we've started this, I have been up working on stuff to prep for the launch at 9:30 in the morning. Right.
Yeah.
So like, that's just, I'm always used to, Jess will be sleeping beside me. I'll be watching
also
something.
enjoy that to an extent.
I do, because it helps my brain stop thinking about real estate.
Yeah, having downtime is
important.
Tough. It's important, but it's also at times tough. It's like, I could be doing something. So that's why I try to reserve my downtime for my family and kids, because if it's me on my own, it's like I feel like I should be doing something. And so that's
Are you able to fully relax though when it's you and your family?
With my family, yes, but not when it's me. So I went away with, we mentioned this earlier, I went away with some of like our friends, the guys.
We all shared one hotel room.
We all shared one hotel room. It was glorious.
Oh, God.
And it was hard for me to fully like take in the relaxation of the experience, because I'm like, well, I feel guilty that Jamie's at home with all the kids. I feel guilty that I could be doing work and doing all these things. And things are still, and those things are still happening, right?
Did she guilt trip you at all when you were
not
gone,
at all?
Or did she?
Not at all. She doesn't do that, which is great. It's. I feel like that's a good quality to have in a wife, to be honest. Because she appreciates when I get an opportunity, just like I do for her. But these worlds are still spinning, and you're here, and they keep like grazing against you, and so they don't stop, and so you can't fully rest. Otherwise, you're gonna get hit by one of these worlds. And the worlds are colliding.
No, but so let's say.
So yeah, it's hard to.
Let's say you
fully
worked a normie job, right?
Yeah, then I feel like you would be able to, but that's just my thought.
No, see, I think it's polar opposite, right?
Really?
I don't think you would have gone on that trip.
Well, no.
Because if you have a set amount of days off that you're allowed to take, you're going to bank those for your family.
Sure. But from a work perspective as an entrepreneur.
Were you working when you were away?
Of course. I did a lot of things while I was away. A lot on my computer. But when you own your own company, you're running your own business. When I go away for a week, it's not like the week just passed and I catch up to where I've now landed back home. It's all that stuff is just backing up so that when I get home, I have to accomplish all this and get back to here.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the down part of when you run your own company, because that you can't just leave. And again, I'm sorry if that's not the case for normal jobs. Maybe it is because I've never had one. And maybe you also get backed up with work because you can't just like pass it off to a coworker. You're still responsible. I don't know.
How does that work?
I don't know how the real world works.
I know.
So let us know if please comment below about
Does
how
someone
real
just, like,
jobs
step
work.
in and take your stuff?
Yeah, you listen. I worked at like camps and stuff before. So if you're like sick for a day, somebody has to
Make those
go out of
macaroni
someone has to
plates.
go out of their way to take the responsibilities that you had. So yes, I'm sure if you had a regular job, you need to find support, or otherwise you're not you're not doing a great job.
Have you thought of career paths for your kids? Like, where do you see them ending up? Where do you
That's
see?
interesting. I think they're still too young to
If you
judge.
if you could just the three
Listen,
of them.
if I just said Joey, I would say, okay, maybe she'll be an actor.
Okay.
Maybe.
Sonny.
If I had to base it all on now, I feel like Sunny, again, I live in the world of creativity. So let's
Sure.
just put all these jobs on the creative side of the world and
Okay.
not say she might be like a doctor. Like, let's not go to that side. So if Sunny was in the entertainment world,
Yeah.
I would say she'd be like a stand-up comedian or like a writer.
Okay.
Because I think she's really funny and witty and hilarious.
Atlas.
And Atlas is right now tracking
Okay.
to be very similar to Joey. It's funny. Me and Jamie were talking about this the other night. Joey is Joey, Sunny is Sunny, and Atlas seems to be a combination of the two where I feel he's very smart. And again, everyone thinks their kid is smart, but I don't necessarily think all my kids are Albert Einsteins. I've worked with lots of kids. I know where kids should be.
You would
So-
say your parents thought you were smart?
My parents probably didn't think I was smart.
Yeah.
I wasn't great
They
in
told
school.
they told me all the time.
They still call you?
Yeah. She's like,
Hey, Paul, your friend's stupid.
yeah, he's so dumb. He's dumb looking.
I
His
think
face.
Atlas, yeah, well, that's true. I think Atlas has a little bit of intelligence element that Joey has, and hilarious and funny like Sunny. So I don't know. Then with that kind of vision, he can maybe be like a director or a producer.
Okay.
If I'm talking
Are
about
they-
in the entertainment world strictly,
Are they like scholarly?
Joey is. She gets
Joey
like
is?
straight A's.
Straight A's.
Sunny doesn't get grades yet.
Okay.
Mm.
She gets a
Well,
participation rating.
She gets a participation
Thanks for
award.
breathing.
Thanks for being in JK and SK.
Yeah.
But Joey, yeah, and I don't know, she doesn't get that from me. Like I was like elementary school is like C student pretty
Yeah.
much. I didn't do well in school. I did later on once I got
Sure.
to high school and university, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
elementary school, I didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit, Mr.
So, like,
Anderson.
would you let them go on the path
Whatever they
of
want.
being?
I would try to be realistic. So we're obviously going way off topic, and that's
No,
okay.
we're not. No. I'm saying, would you want them to go on the path of an entrepreneur?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about entertainment. I
no, I'm not
apologize.
saying entertainment at all. Like,
Really
would you
jumped down
wish
your throat
this?
there.
Would you wish this upon them?
No, I mean, sorry. I wish upon them whatever they want. That's kind of a cop out. But I would help guide them. Like if I see that like Joey really has an entrepreneurial spirit and
Yeah.
she's doing that and you can notice that, those traits, then I would really try to like help her and build her and grow her and do all these great things for her to support her dream.
Yeah.
But if she wasn't like that and she had like some sort of crazy wishful theme, I wouldn't try to kill her dream, but I would at least try to put her on the path that I feel that she would succeed the most in, because at the end of the day, we're their parents. We see them grow. We have wisdom.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, whatever makes them happy is really all that is important. And I don't know just like you think what you want to do pre-kids versus what you have a kid.
Yeah.
I can say what I would love to do when they're older and adults versus because they're not yet. And maybe my whole thought on that topic will be very different once I'm there.
Like, I think if Roy came up to us and was like, I want to be a lawyer, Jess would be like, no, like, absolutely not.
Really? But she would just
Absolutely not.
stifle him like when he was
No,
like,
I think like like, did you ever think I would have been in real estate? No.
no, but I can see how multiple of your magnitude of talents lends itself to real estate. Like,
Yeah, I just, like,
perfectly.
I guess I feel like a lot of people who were around me at the time just thought I would try to do the music thing forever. Right.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
it's, like when I told my parents, they were like, oh, like, cause I was working at a label at the time. They're like, oh, maybe stick with this. Like real estate's like a lot. It wasn't like I was pushed in that direction. I want to say 90% of the people were just like,
You went uphill to get into it.
I did. And it's like, everyone was like, no, don't do it. Like, go on the path or whatever.
Exactly. So
Something else.
So knowing your story, maybe Jess wouldn't do that because she's been through it and she's like,
Yeah.
listen, it's, sometimes the most successful stories are the ones that are an uphill battle and that you do go after your dream and
Yeah.
You just want to do what's best for them. And you don't know what that is until you're there. So that's basically it.
So on that note, I think it's a nice little place to tie this all up.
What note would that be? Like
I would say
C, middle C.
Follow your dreams. Let's both look in this camera.
Are we
I
gonna
wasn't.
say it?
No, I wasn't. I was just gonna say follow your dreams.
Dreams. Follow your dreams.
If you're an entrepreneur dad, just stick with it. It gets better. I hope.
It gets whatever it is, but do what you were born to do, and don't be afraid to go after those, entrepreneurial opportunities just because you have a kid. But find balance. How's
Find
that?
Balance. Yeah. So
And speaking of balance, where can they find our balance of material across all channels?
I'm going to do it. So if you're listening, you can check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, basically all of the podcast channels. We're there. Watch us on YouTube, what you're doing right now, if you're looking at our beautiful faces. And if you're on YouTube,
Yep.
smash that like button. Don't forget to hit that little bell so you know when we upload. But even before that, hit that subscribe, because I want to say 85% of you aren't subscribed to our channel. So please subscribe.
Are you shaming them for not subscribing?
I am. Shame on you.
Shame on you.
Follow us on all our platforms. Smash the like button, subscribe, tell your friends, comment, all that stuff, all
Do
the
what you gotta
usual social media stuff.
Or
Or
don't do any of that.
don't, and just listen to us and tell your friends.
It's
at
your
least one
choice.
friend.
If everyone tells one friend, we'll be on track to our dream of making this our full-time life.
There we go.
So I'm Daniel,
I'm Paul,
and this has been.
the Dad Collective Podcast.
Was that a question?
Sometimes
Only you can answer.
you tuck yourself in
Tight.
and have a great night. Bye.
I'm out of sight.
Thanks for watching, guys. We
Bye,
love you.
guys.
And listening.
Make sure you tune in each and every week for a brand new episode of The Dad Collective.